This podcast, which I produce for you each week, is designed to help you improve your English. I'm sure that English learners who listen to the Happy English podcast can find something useful in each episode. Did you notice those relative clauses? Let's discuss.
Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. It's Michael here from Happy English, and I help people speak English better. And this is Happy English Podcast, episode 773, Relative Clauses. So, today I thought I would take a look into relative clauses and just kind of go through everything that you might need to know about them. We're going to start out simple and then build to great excitement. First of all, what are relative clauses? In a nutshell, relative clauses are kind of like these little phrases that we add into our sentences to give us extra information about a noun. So bonus information about a noun. And they're really useful for adding detail and making your sentences more interesting. And there are two different types of relative clauses. Let's start with a situation. Imagine you're talking to a friend about someone you met on your last trip to New York. And then you say, "I met a woman who does amazing magic tricks." Listen to that again. I met a woman who does amazing magic tricks. Did you catch the second part of that sentence? I said, I met a woman. And then I said, who does amazing magic tricks. That second part, who does amazing magic tricks, that's a relative clause. This relative clause gives us more information about the woman. In particular, this kind of relative clause is called a defining relative clause because it defines the noun that comes before it. It describes that noun. I met a woman who does amazing magic tricks. Now, we have details about the woman I met. Here's another one. The man who lives next door to me has a very loud voice. It's true, actually. And now you know about him. The man who lives next door has a very loud voice. Now you know about the woman I met and the man who lives next door. And by the way, the book which you lent me is fantastic. What book? The book which you lent me. What man? The man who lives next door. What woman? A woman who does amazing magic tricks. Again, these are called defining relative clauses because they define or identify the noun that comes before them. But there's one more kind of relative clause, like my aunt, who lives in Brooklyn, makes the best lasagna. Yum! My aunt totally makes the best lasagna. Which aunt? You might ask me. Oh, my aunt, who lives in Brooklyn, makes the best lasagna. This part, who lives in Brooklyn, gives us extra information about my aunt. We know it's my aunt, and who lives in Brooklyn gives us extra information about her. This part, who lives in Brooklyn, is not absolutely necessary, but it's giving us extra information. So it's like a bonus. It's a bonus detail, right? She lives in Brooklyn and she makes the best lasagna. And these bonus detail clauses, they're called non-defining relative clauses. They just give us extra information. And you might have noticed that when I say that, I kind of paused a little. My aunt who lives in Brooklyn, makes the best lasagna. You hear the pauses? When you write these non-defining relative clauses, you use a comma before and after them to show that pause. Jenny, who works in accounting, is also a semi-pro golfer. The car, which Jack crashed into a tree, was a 1980 Chevy. Did you hear the pauses? So, let's review where we are so far. Defining relative clauses define the noun. The man who fixed my car did a great job. We need who fixed my car. Who fixed my car is essential information. Otherwise, we don't know which man we are talking about. If I don't use the relative clause, we have this. The man did a great job. The man did a great job? Which man? The man who fixed my car. See? These defining relative clauses are essential, and the sentence would be vague or unclear without them. Or if I say, the book is fantastic, you'd be wondering, oh, Michael, what book are you talking about? The book which you lent me is fantastic. Essential information right there, huh? On the other hand, those non-defining relative clauses give us more or extra information about the noun. They are like a side dish. They are good to know, but not crucial to the main story. Like, I wanted to tell you that my aunt makes the best lasagna, and when I say my aunt, who lives in Brooklyn, makes the best lasagna, well, now you have additional information about my aunt. Not only does she make amazing lasagna, but she lives in Brooklyn. That's extra information about her. Not essential, but nice to know. And if I don't say that, the sentence still makes sense. My aunt makes the best lasagna. Clear as day who I'm talking about. My aunt. And one last point. When you have a defining relative clause, like I was looking for the wire which is connected to the printer, you can substitute that for who or which. I was looking for the wire that is connected to the printer. But in a non-defining relative clause like Jenny, who works in accounting, is also a semi-pro golfer. You can't replace who or which with that. I can't say, Jenny, that works in accounting, is also a semi-pro golfer. Remember the conversational pauses and the commas when you write those sentences. If you use commas, you can't use that. This is a handy tip if you're taking one of those English exams like TOEIC, TOEFL, or IELTS. And keep in mind, the best way to remember grammar like this and any other word or phrase in English is to take that word or phrase, write it in a sentence that's true for you or true in your world, and then memorize your sentences. And check this out. Do you want to get more experience speaking English? Well, you can get the chance to practice this kind of English with me directly. That's right. You can get more practice using your English when you join my Podcast Learners Study Group. There, you can make new friends, join us for live group lessons every week where we practice these podcast lessons together. Plus, you get access to the PDF transcript and audio download for every Happy English podcast in the past and in the future. And on top of that, each episode has exercises where you can practice this English point with speaking and writing checked by me. To learn more, just visit myhappyenglish.com and choose podcast lesson 773. Remember, learning another language is not easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm here to help you on your journey.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.